For some context, my best friend, Alex, 32M, and I, 32M, have been friends since diapers. We're basically family. After college, we both moved back home so we could live at home and get our feet underneath us. Alex started dating Stella, 35F, a lovely girl, around 4.5 years ago, and from the get-go, she seemed to politely dislike me. I don't know why. Alex and Stella moved across the country in 2021 after Stella earned a promotion at work. In 2022, Alex proposed, and she said yes, so they set a wedding date for the end of September 2023. I received a save the date card at the beginning of the year and, based on the conversations I had with Alex, assumed I would be in the wedding party, either as a groomsman or the best man, but never received any official confirmation from either of them. A couple of months before the wedding, I saw that wedding invitations had gone out on social media and figured mine was en route. It never came. I waited a couple of weeks, thinking it might have just gotten lost in the mail, before I checked in with him. I called Alex and had a brief conversation with him where he was clearly agitated. He said he was dealing with a lot and would be incommunicado for the near future. He instructed me to direct any wedding-related questions to Stella and mentioned he'd call me when things cooled off. I called, texted, and emailed Stella several times over the course of a week, but she didn't respond to any of them. At this point, I figured I wouldn't be attending the wedding, and that things were really messed up between the two of us for some reason. Yesterday, a little over 3 weeks after our last conversation, Alex DM'd asking if I was free for a chat. I jumped at the opportunity to get some answers, and we FaceTimed each other. After exchanging pleasantries, Alex jumped right into a spiel, saying that he knew I was super busy with work and dealing with a lot of personal stuff, but he'd love it if I could attend his wedding, even just as a guest. He wanted to know if there was anything he could do to help make that happen. I blurted out that I'd love to but hadn't received an invitation. Alex stared blankly at me and said, "What?" I then explained that I hadn't received an invitation. That was the reason I'd called him a few weeks ago, that I'd contacted Stella about it, but she never got back to me and left me on red. I also mentioned that I had no idea what he was talking about regarding me dealing with too much to be involved in the wedding. After a very pregnant pause, he said he needed to go sort things out and that he'd call me when it was done. My phone's blowing up with wedding attendees asking me what the hell happened and why the wedding might be off now. My girlfriend has reaffirmed to me that I did nothing wrong, but I've had people from all sides saying I stuck my nose where it didn't belong and caused a stink, which is really messing with my head. Update 1. Alex and I texted Tuesday night/Wednesday morning. He said he was handling stuff and asked if I'd be free to talk Thursday afternoon with him and Stella, which I agreed to. This is just a rough summary, and I probably forgot some stuff. Frankly, I'm too mentally fried to weave a narrative right now, so it's just going to be bullet points. A couple of pieces of info about Alex to provide some context. Alex was raised fairly sheltered and religious until he was 18, when he went to college and opened up. As a result, he still has some blind spots about certain things. Alex has mild to moderate OCD. It's managed with low levels of medication and maintenance therapy, which is one of the reasons he gets overwhelmed easily, especially from unexpected stressors, and weddings are chock full of those. Now for the actual update. The wedding is still happening, and I will be the best man. I've been briefed on all the responsibilities I need to handle. The person who was filling in for me, Matthew, 34M, one of mine and Alex's good friends, is thrilled not to have to spend the day peopling and can instead run the booze supply to zero. As a result of this clusterflop, the parents of Alex/Stella/whoever is paying for the wedding will be covering the cost of mine and my girlfriend's plane tickets and hotel stay, as well as my best man tuxedo. What was the main driver of this mess in the first place? Stella's pregnant, hooray, I guess. They found out a couple of days after the wedding invites got sent out. Apparently, they were passively trying, then actively trying in 2022, but stopped and switched back to heavy birth control once the save the dates went out because Stella did not want to be pregnant on her wedding day. This led to several changes to the wedding, threw a bunch of other planning into disarray, sent Alex into an OCD spiral for a couple of weeks, which is why he was agitated when I called him and why he needed time to get his head around it all and manage the intrusive thoughts. It's also one of the reasons why Stella ignored/missed my messages/calls. Why did Stella not respond to my messages? Besides the surprise pregnancy, Stella said that she's on her phone for work a ton and gets hundreds, if not thousands, of emails/texts/calls per day. She misses some stuff, especially since she didn't have my contact info saved, lol. I also emailed her work email instead of her personal email, which I don't have, and my own personal email handle is not my name. In the future, I was told to be more insistent in my communication with her to break through her everyday noise. Duly noted. What happened to my invite? Stella claims that she sent me one but must have sent it to my old address. I did move in March to my current residence, and the save the dates were sent out in January. What did Stella tell Alex about me not being in the wedding? Apparently, nothing. According to Stella, he either 1, believed one of his intrusive thoughts was real when he was in his OCD spiral, 2, he got confused when she told him one of her cousins with a similar sounding name to mine wouldn't be attending, or 3, some combination thereof. According to Stella, she always wanted me in the wedding. Why did Stella not contact me after I didn't RSVP back? She assumed there was something going on with me and Alex and that we'd sort it out and he'd tell her. In the meantime, she was busy with work, wedding planning, and the unexpected baby. How did a bunch of wedding guests find out about this mess? Alex called his mom for advice after our convo. His mom had church friends over, and the church ladies overheard a good chunk of their conversation. Church ladies are gossipy, and Alex has spent a decent chunk of time the last couple of days putting out fires, so to speak. After about an hour, Stella left to go deal with some wedding stuff, and Alex and I chatted about things for a couple of hours. Do I believe Stella's explanations? Kinda. The baby's real, as far as I know, confirmed by a medical professional. She does have a cousin I know she's close with who has a similar sounding name to mine, and she does work from her phone a lot. But the rest of it just seems a little too convenient, and I feel like I'm left with more questions than answers. The good news is, since I'm in the wedding, I should have great access to figure out what the heck is going on, I hope. Update 2. Valp, it's been a while. Sorry, y'all for taking so long to get this update out. I've been absolutely swamped at work, putting out fires with my hair on fire for the last 6-ish months. So, the wedding was 8 months ago, and here's the Cliff Notes version of the wedding and some post-wedding stuff. The lead-up was boring, a crap ton of emailing back and forth between me, Stella, other wedding people, venues, vendors, etc. Me and Alex had some pretty deep conversations over the week and reaffirmed the importance of our continued friendship. Stuff was really awkward the first night we were there for dinner, especially considering both Alex's stepsister, Sam, 32F, and Stella's younger sister and maid of honor, Diana, 29F, were already staying there. For context, we stayed at an Airbnb within walking distance of Alex's house. I went into event work mode pretty quickly, and that smoothed things out right away and put Stella at ease. I spent most of the lead up to the wedding either at the ceremony/reception site doing liaison/setup or running around picking crap/people/crappy people up with Sam. My girlfriend, Alice, 29F, was kinda miffed about the whole thing. She's never worked a wedding before, just attended, so she expected it to be like 50% working and 50% vacation. It ended up being more like 90% me working and 10% vacation. She spent most of her time helping Alex out with wedding support related stuff or gaming on my laptop when she gassed out or got too overwhelmed. The wedding was a fun mess, with tons of unrelated drama. Stella sure knows how to design a beautiful ceremony and plan a party, I'll give her credit for that. I didn't get to enjoy much of it since I was working the wedding with a few other people in the wedding party more than attending, but oh well. The ceremony took forever, though. I felt terrible for all the bridesmaids who had to wear heels through that. Unfortunately, there was no gotcha moment or come to Jesus moment where I got the full story as to why the drama with Stella happened, but based on what I observed while working the wedding, I think I've been able to piece together roughly what went down. Why wasn't I the best man? I think this had more to do with Stella's parents, Ken and Karen, both in their 60s, than her, although she still doesn't like me. Here's my main reasoning. Ken and Karen were paying for the majority of the wedding, more than Stella, Alex, and Alex's parents combined. Alex and Stella sketched out pretty early what they wanted the wedding to look like. Throughout the process, Stella made several significant changes out of the proverbial blue. For example, they originally agreed on a smaller wedding, something like 50 to 60 people, but then one day, randomly, Stella asked for and wanted a big wedding. Alex didn't really care all that much and just figured she changed her mind. He just somehow missed that most of these changes occurred after Stella either had a phone call or an in-person meeting with her parents, which is on brand for him. Her parents were very standoffish towards me, to be expected, the feelings mutual, and made a lot of frankly weird comments about Stella's younger brother, Chase, 23M, who is totally not a cokehead. Often, these comments were made in comparisons between us that flattered him, and they kept insisting he was perfect best man material. Alex has barely met Stella's parents, maybe a dozen times over the last 5 years. Every time they visit for the holidays, Stella has them leave early for whatever reason, and Stella rarely initiates calls with them. Stella acts really weird around her parents. Around everyone else, she's a strong modern woman, but around her parents, she gets super meek. For example, her mom asked her to drive to some specific store over an hour away to get her a specific food item in the middle of wedding planning, and she just did it without any protest, leaving the rest of the wedding party in a lurch. When she got back 3 hours later, her mom took like 2 bites and then threw it away. If I hadn't seen this with my own 2 eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. It was that bizarre. Lots of other innocuous crap that individually means nothing, but when combined together, provide a decent amount of circumstantial evidence. So here's what I think happened, roughly. Ken and Karen wanted Chase to be the best man in the wedding, while Alex really wanted me to be the best man. Rather than make a choice, Stella appeased both parties by telling them what they wanted to hear while making no actual decision. The longer it went on, the more complex the lying got. When Alex had his breakdown, Stella saw a way to get out from under her Gordian knot of lies by taking advantage of the crisis. Unfortunately for her, Alex came to his senses before the wedding, started asking questions, and when push finally came to shove, she chose her relationship over whatever the hell is going on with the family, much to their apparent chagrin. Why does Stella not like me? I have 2 main guesses here, I swear a lot. I tend to forget that most people don't use the word FCK as a noun, verb, and adjective on a day-to-day basis. Since I was working the wedding and on my best behavior, I cut down on my swearing by a good 90%. This led me to notice that any time I swear, or anyone for that matter curses, Stella has a little grimace or cringe reaction. Stella herself also rarely curses, and if she does, it's something pretty small like hell or damn it, followed by a quick apology. It's probably exacerbated by the fact that despite my generally unprofessional behavior, I hold a fairly professional job. The dissonance can bother folks. Politics, and before people freak out, I'm somewhere between a democratic socialist and socialist on the political spectrum. I am a far cry from conservative, but for Stella, that's not far enough left. As far as I can tell, she's either a tanky or tanky adjacent. This has been more or less confirmed to me based on her social media engagement relating to the major geopolitical events of the last 6 months or so. Probably exacerbated by the fact that my job involves working in geopolitics, so I am part of the repressive imperialist Western system. And as it turns out, I'm not the only person in the wedding who isn't super fond of Stella, so I found my flock, so to speak. Post-wedding stuff, Alex and Stella had a healthy baby girl named Iris, and Sam and I are the godparents. Alex and I have been talking a lot more. For whatever reason he asks me for childcare tips, like, bruh, I'm just as lost as you here. We've set up a weekly gaming session where we're slowly slogging through Baldur's Gate 3 with Sam and Matthew. As far as I know, Alex and Stella are in couples counseling, which seems to be helping from my vantage point. Stella was weirdly against it, but Alex pushed for it so he could be a better husband to her, and she relented. As far as I know, Stella's already back at work and on most of her pre-baby schedule. Alex's stepsister Sam has been checking in on them periodically, and according to her, there are no major red flags at the moment. Stella actually texts/emails me stuff now. It's mostly baby pictures, but it's a step in the right direction, and I appreciate it. I send cat pictures in response. Hopefully, this is the last update. My life got far too interesting for that month, and with my current workload, I doubt I could mentally handle more drama.